Beyond the Clef is presented by Director's Choice.
Welcome to Beyond the Clef. We're at TMEA 2018, and I am here with Dick Clardy. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Delighted to be here.
You are the Director of Instrumental Music at Fort Worth ISD. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I've been there, I guess I've been 3 years.
3 years,
3 years
okay.
plus 3 months.
Oh, wow, okay, all right. So tell me a little bit about being the Director of Instrumental Music at a district, and from what I know of the district, it's an urban district.
Very
So
large district.
Tell me a little bit about the district, first of all.
Well, we have around 88,000 students in the schools. We have 42 secondary schools,
Wow.
28 middle schools, and 14 full-service high schools, plus others that are in different areas that are specialized. But we have, I'm part of the secondary staff of leadership, so I'm over all the bands, orchestras, and mariachis in the secondary schools.
All right. And so...
Did I say bands, orchestras, and mariachis?
Yes, you said all three.
Right,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So that's a lot of programs.
And we basically have a band and orchestra in every facility, and the mariachi programs in about three or
Okay.
four.
So how many total staff are we talking here in those programs that you oversee?
We have around 90 staff members.
That seems like a challenge.
We're, in some cases, we're understaffed, and we're working on that. And it's a sort of an ideal situation. We have specialists within our department that work with both the bands and orchestras. So I've hired veteran band directors and orchestra directors that all they do is mentor our teachers. Most of them are half-time, they're retired, and they're half-time teachers. And those are Jolette Wines, Scott Taylor, Stacy Dunn, and Gordon Hart in the band area. And in the orchestra area, we have Pat Leverton. He's full-time. And we have Paul Sykes that's helping us. He's at Texas Wesleyan, and Bill Huff, the retired supervisor at Arlington ISD. And they work with pyramids throughout the district. It's really helped our teachers.
And so they get to go in, boots on the ground, get to go into their classes, help them out. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're in most of the schools once every week or so. And they do reports, follow-ups. They help us with all of our benchmarks, festivals, and UIL preparation and approval of programs. It's been a great help. And they also conduct a lot of the in-service. We just completed an in-service in the band area on sight readings, and they actually simulated doing a sight reading procedure in front of the other directors. And then the orchestra has their own in-service with Mr. Leverton, and they did comparable things. And we have a very excellent group of mariachi groups. We have 3 that are advancing to the State Mariachi Festival in the Valley the 24th of February, actually.
Wow. It's coming up fast.
North Side is one of our shining schools. It's a mariachi special program of choice, both in the middle school at Elder, the middle school, and the high school. And they just had their second mariachi group come back from the TMEA organization's festival, and they competed against 5A groups and did very well.
You mentioned Stacy Dunn. He's going to be on the program pretty soon.
He retired last year from Southwest High School, and I immediately asked our superintendent if we could hire him. So he was hired in February, and he's taken over 2 or 3 of our pyramids and has just done great work.
Great.
He's really committed to the urban schools. He built that entire program at Southwest to a pretty fine level as we speak. It's great.
Well, tell me a little bit about what are the struggles in the urban district that you're facing, and then what are some things that one of our viewers, as a band director, orchestra director, choir director, what could they do what are some ideas that y'all are doing to be successful?
Well, we are, number one, with the specialists working with their faculty. That's priority number one. Faculty, pedagogy, techniques, pacing, trying to improve that, and then we're trying to attract new faculty, young faculty. We've basically the last 3 years hired a lot younger, more aggressive, better faculty. We've added a few positions. We're now in a 3-year rotation of trying to add positions throughout the district. We even have, at this point, a few of our high schools they have just one director, so we're trying to increase that. And we have to have larger enrollments, better product to do that. But we have a new administration superintendent in Fort Worth. His name is Dr. Kent Scribner, and he's been excellent. He supports the fine arts, and we've been able to buy $1.5 million worth of new instruments. We supply a large portion of our student population with instruments. So we have a large inventory, and it's aging and older, and in some cases not very good quality. We've really increased the quality of the string instruments. That's really important for quality and performance, and we're trying to buy standard good instruments for the band and orchestra and mariachi.
So what does that look like in a 6th grade band program, for instance? When a child and a parent are coming into that program, I'm assuming 6th grade, do you guys provide most, or you try to get them to buy their own, or it's just?
In some cases we try to, but I would guess in our entire district maybe 10% on their own instruments.
Right. Okay.
Maybe less than that.
Right. Okay.
So we have all our instruments in the charms, so our inventory's in there, and when we have shortages or surplus in the schools, after we assess that in September, we'll move instruments around. But we have assigned instruments at each campus.
Okay. All right. And then does that instrument follow them up through the progression of their school?
Through the school, then they're assigned another one.
Okay.
At the high school, yes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. You were talking about some hiring issues. Do you have a deficit in your teachers?
We're at full force, except we're still needing one orchestra teacher. Orchestra teachers are very much sought after. But we've hired some really good ones, and we're very happy with that.
How do you go out and find? I mean, sometimes it's difficult to find anything. My district suffers for that in Lubbock. It's sometimes hard to find the right teacher, the right fit. So how do you combat that as the hirer?
Well, we have our online application process called AppleTrack. So there are people that apply through there, but most of our applicants we go out and find and seek and call. Our specialists are a great resource because they're out working with other groups. They have a lot of colleagues and friends in the profession that they can call, and we advertise on occasion on some of the boards, the TMEA board, and we'll just call people. I hired an orchestra teacher this year from Wisconsin.
Wow.
So, and I think that's not out of the ordinary in Texas. Everybody's trying to find better orchestra or more orchestra teachers. We have great orchestras, but the supply is just very low. And as I say, we have orchestras in every school.
That's great.
The thing about Fort Worth, we have programs of choice and schools of choice. So sometimes that is an advantage, sometimes it's a disadvantage. Scheduling can be a problem, and that's what we're fighting now. The whole world has gone crazy on testing and assessing a school just based on tests. The great principals in our district recognize the importance of the arts, and they really support the programs. And those that are less inclined to do that, we're trying to educate them and build bridges and make our teachers better, be proactive. We're trying to streamline and make our recruiting in the elementaries better, and supplying lists of counselors to where they can help us with that. We still have a lot of scheduling issues in some of our middle schools.
Yeah. But
we're trying to address that, and generally it's getting better each semester and each year. We're really happy about that, and it's reflected in our benchmarks and also the UIL scores. We initiated with our band area last year, we initiated a beginning band benchmark in May, so we required all of our middle school bands to come to a festival, and they prepare 2 or 3 pieces. Some are just grade 1, some are out of beginning books, and they perform for all of us as specialists. And that's been a great help preparing students for the next level.
That's right. Excuse me. So what, you said you have an urban district, and that's something that a lot of people are facing. What are some of the strategies that you guys, and you mentioned your pyramids, as you call them, of support structure. What strategies other than that are you trying to do to help support the urban school district?
It might be interesting for you to know that throughout Texas, the percentage of Title I schools is way over 70%.
Wow.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. So it's very common. The students I've found, and I've worked at other districts that are higher socioeconomic demographics and some that are average, the students are basically the same everywhere.
Right.
We find in some cases there's, for a lot of different reasons, there's less parental support or presence, not support, but presence in the schools. They're holding down a job or two, and they're less likely to have a parent organization. So we have to make up the difference through funding and activities that support the child. But students are basically the same everywhere. You would think it going into an urban district, the students would be out of control, not respectful. It's just the opposite. They're very respectful. The schools, in most cases, 95% of the time, are very well managed. They're just wanting to be taught. So we're trying to, they deserve to be taught every day in the best way. So we're trying to promote better teachers, better teaching methods, helping with the schedule where we have a myriad of schedules, block schedules, every other day schedules. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to convince them the students need to have beginning class every day, and we've documented that the schools that have gone to the every other day, the block, the aptitude or their ability to progress on their instrument is really slowed, and in the second and third year they're not prepared to go and play literature at the high school level. So we're addressing that.
That's good.
You know, it's back to the principal runs the school and determines the schedule. I think Fort Worth is at the precipice of dictating schedules, because we do share staff. A lot of the orchestra staff are paired between 2 schools. So when one school changes schedule,
It ruins that whole thing.
creates a lot of problems. And it would just be more efficient. And as students move, if they move from campus to campus, it's going to be the same at each campus. And I think that's a positive. So that's where we're trying to move.
Great, great. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the program and taking the time to come meet with us.
Thank you.
And we hope to get you on again. And I know I have a plethora of topics to ask you, but one last question I just wanted to say is, do you have any advice for the new teacher that's going to go hire in your district or any district? What maybe the number one thing that a new hire should do as they're interviewing, and what they should be thinking about?
You know, as they're going through high school and college and doing their student teaching, try to surround themselves with good mentors, people that know what they can do as a private lesson teacher, a student teacher. Be visible with teachers and try to identify the best teachers and try to absorb what they're doing. That looks really great on a resume. And then make sure that they're very skilled in the pedagogy of all the instruments, especially instruments that they may not play. They need to know about.
Right.
How do you? And that would just be, you quickly learn by just sitting down with a great pedagogue on the clarinet, if that's the instrument that they're not up to speed, and just talk. How do you start your clarinets? What do you do? What are the things? So the interview will be more impressive.
Well, thank you so much for being on the program. We really appreciate it. And thanks for joining us with Beyond the Clef, going further with your music program.
Thank you very much.